Are you looking for that perfect getaway? Something with off-world charm, but on-world accessibility? May I suggest New Asgard?
I'm gonna burn this place to the ground.
Welcome back to ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy. After Thor, Love and Thunder, everyone, including yours truly, talks about Thor, Love, Hercules, Eternity, the necrosword, Valhalla, and how the movie sets up big things for the future. But let's bring it back down to Earth for a minute and talk about one of the smaller scale things that the movie establishes, New Asgard, a fishing village that blew up into a Viking Disneyland. New Asgard might not seem like it, but it actually has some serious story potential. One story in particular, a war between New Asgard and humanity. That is how we will get the MCU adaptation of Siege from the comics, a story where the Thunderbolts started a war with Asgard, which, as it happens at the time, was on Earth. So Asgard is on Earth, the Thunderbolts are getting their own movie, and there's something sinister brewing in the way the government is dealing with superhuman threats. So everything is in place for the MCU's version of Siege. And you guessed it, we came up with a juicy idea for how this story is going to play out. So we present to you how New Asgard will go to war with the Thunderbolts.
Things are about to get weird. So when they do, we're not going to need a Captain America. We're going to need a U.S. agent.
But first, we need to go over the comic book version of Siege because we have to have that context. Alright, long story short, the government put Norman Osborn in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yes, Green Goblin Norman Osborn. Because of the events of Civil War, every working superhero had to register with the government, which put Osborn in charge of every single superhero on Earth. So Osborn rebranded S.H.I.E.L.D. into an organization called Hammer. Then he got himself an Iron Man suit and became the Iron Patriot.
I am Iron Patriot.
Listen, War Machine was a little too aggressive, all right? This sends a better message.
Also, Osborn was in charge of the Thunderbolts, which later became the Dark Avengers, a team of bad guys pretending to be established Avengers. Now, at the time, Asgard was on Earth, floating over Oklahoma. Osborn devises a sinister plot that starts an all-out war with Asgard. So that's the basis for this story. But things will need to be heavily adjusted for the MCU. Love and Thunder doesn't really address how the world reacted to New Asgard. The Asgardians showed up on Earth sometime after the snap, and for 5 years, they were just a harmless fishing village in Tonsberg, Norway.
Kind of a step down from the golden palaces and the magic hammers and whatnot.
Hey, have a little compassion, pal. First they lost Asgard, then half their people. They're probably just happy to have a home.
Then Valkyrie became king, and New Asgard really blew up, growing into a prospering nation. And you just know that some humans are going to get real paranoid about a bunch of aliens from some mystical realm becoming a global superpower. Okay, sure, New Asgard is far from being anything like that. They're more of a theme park. They don't really come close to a nation like Wakanda. But from a certain point of view of some baddies, New Asgard can be seen as a legitimate threat. The Asgardians are all really powerful, and they have magic hammers, rainbow bridges, and flying horses. Sure, Thor has proven time and time again that he's one of Earth's mightiest, but humanity didn't have the best experience with Asgardians. Remember, S.H.I.E.L.D. became paranoid about extraterrestrials after the Destroyer attacked New Mexico.
Last year, Earth had a visitor from another planet who had a grudge match that leveled a small town.
Then Loki unleashed the Chitauri on New York. A year later, Earth was attacked again, this time by the Dark Elves. 3 alien attacks within 3 years, all connected to the Asgardians, not to mention all the other alien invasions since. So humanity might be fed up with how all these ETs keep showing up on their planet. This is the reason why the temperature's pretty high right now on Earth. Ever since Civil War, there's been a change in the way regular people look at super people, especially within the government.
For the past 4 years, you've operated with unlimited power and no supervision. That's an arrangement the governments of the world can no longer tolerate.
Stop being so defensive.
And let's be honest, super people are becoming a real issue with things like the Scarlet Witch, Westview, Spider-Man causing an invasion from another universe, a big-ass giant rising up from the ocean, day turning into night all of a sudden, kaiju in Egypt. Things are getting kind of out of control, and that is scary for normal people. And that is why the government will choose New Asgard as their target. They're not as threatening or as powerful as Wakanda, for example, so a team like the Thunderbolts should be able to deal with them. This is less about actually dealing with a legitimate threat and more about a show of force. They can control the narrative through the media and vilify the Asgardians, turning the public perception against them. Mysterio is proof that it's now easy to turn the public against superheroes. All it takes is the right narrative.
I mean, if I'm gonna be the next Iron Man, I need to save the world from an Avengers-level threat.
When its new savior descends, all those casualties will be forgotten.
After that, people will just about believe anything. The government will use the Thunderbolts as proof that they are capable of dealing with these threats, and that they can keep the public safe. That's how the Thunderbolts become heroes. government-issued heroes.
That we announce here today that the United States of America has a new hero.
Now we know the MCU is working toward a Thunderbolts movie, a team of morally gray heroes who will likely do some dirty work for the government. So before we get to the new Asgard war, we should first explain how the Thunderbolts will happen. But I don't want to get too much into the Thunderbolts because we already have these 2 videos where we covered everything you have to know about that team. The reason why Osborn was put in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D. and was given full control by the government was the events of Secret Invasion. The Skrulls replaced countless heroes and infiltrated Earth on every level. Using the situation for his own advantage, Osborn manipulated the media into presenting him as a hero who saved the world from the Skrulls' invasion. And Secret Invasion is important since it's one of the upcoming Disney Plus shows, a show where Nick Fury will have to deal with Skrulls who infiltrated Earth. I have a feeling that by the end of this show, Fury will be ousted as a Skrull. Well, that's Talos, but once people find out that Fury and others were Skrulls for years, that is going to cause some panic.
Everybody stay calm! What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm!
In theory, Fury's still in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D., I think. So this is the second time that organization was infiltrated, last time it was Hydra. And to make matters worse, Fury is the one who let the Skrulls in. This will force the government to take some drastic actions to protect themselves, and that is how the Thunderbolts will become the government superhero team, and they will make their name by first going after Skrulls, like Osborn did in the comics. And we know the government is planning something behind the scenes. First, there's the Department of Damage Control. They went from cleaning up the streets from superheroes' collateral damage to cleaning the streets from superheroes, period. They are taking extreme measures against superpowered individuals.
We are closing in on the enhanced individuals as we speak.
Yes, and they're doing it in front of a high school. Apparently there's such thing as bad press, and I don't like it.
They collect weapons and tech and repurpose them against heroes. And they also arrest people with power, so I'm sure there's something going on there. Then there's whatever Valentina Allegra de Fontaine is up to.
You can just call me Val.
We know that she's assembling a team of government heroes who have no problem getting their hands dirty and bloody. She already got John Walker, now U.S. agent.
Nobody in there is mad at you about that. I mean, you would have been doing him a favor if you'd taken out the whole lot.
And she manipulated Yelena to go after Hawkeye. So I'm pretty sure that Val and the DODC are working together in some capacity, and that is how we will get the Thunderbolts. Also, let's not forget about the Thunderbolt, Thaddeus E. Thunderbolt Ross. He has been targeting heroes ever since the Sokovia Accords. Well, actually, he had a vendetta against heroes since his daughter's boyfriend became a raging cucumber. So, I'm sure he's been working on the Thunderbolts team for a while now. The team is named after him, after all. Also, Ross is meant to become the Red Hulk.
You can either surrender peacefully, or you can resist. Please resist.
Unfortunately, William Hurt passed away. I don't think Marvel will recast, and I also really don't want them to bring him back as a deepfake. So I'll wager that he laid the groundwork for the team, and now Val and the other government people will use the Thunderbolts name to finish what he started. But of course, the government can't just approve an operation on new Asgardian soil without provocation. That is why the Thunderbolts need an instigator, someone who knows how to turn the public on heroes and how to topple empires. Yeah, Zemo.
The danger with people like him is that we put them on pedestals. They become symbols, icons, and then we start to forget about their flaws.
Desperate times call for desperate measures, and Zemo proved himself as an asset when it came to hunting superhumans. He is now on the raft, so I'm sure the government will make him a Suicide Squad offer that he can't refuse. Now at this point, it's unclear if we'll get a 616 version of Norman Osborn.
Someone's living in my house. Oscorp doesn't exist. My son? Gonna cry?
In case we don't, Zemo could be what Norman was in the comics. Why would anyone trust Zemo? Well, because he kind of makes sense.
The desire to become a superhuman cannot be separated from supremacist ideals.
I doubt the government will trust Zemo to lead the team, at least not publicly. So they will make Walker the public face of the Thunderbolts, while Zemo will be pulling the strings behind the scenes, the government's dirty little secret. But here's the thing, Siege didn't happen just because Norman Osborn decided to attack Asgard. Loki was the actual evil mastermind. He manipulated Normie, he was pulling the strings all along. So this story needs a Loki. Now not real Loki, because he's a good guy now. So someone else will need to be the evil Asgardian of the story. And it needs to be Amora the Enchantress. She is a major character in Thor's comics that is yet to appear in the MCU. In the comics, Amora and Thor have a complicated relationship. They're enemies, but also lovers, and she's also quite a powerful magic user.
Why have you come here, Amora?
Oh,
know you love Midgard so much, Thunderer. We thought we would come and see what all the fuss is about.
So here's how I see this going down. Amora is an Asgardian who wants the throne for herself. She's evil and manipulative, so she will do whatever it takes to achieve her goals. I want her to be like the comics Loki. We never really got to see Loki being truly evil. Most of his diabolical actions were retconned to have been done under the influence of the Mind Stone. Not that I'm complaining, by the way. I love the Loki we got. So Amora can actually be more like the comics version of Loki. Her plan is to manipulate the government into a conflict with New Asgard. But at the same time, she's going to stir the pot for the Asgardians. Now, back in Spider-Man No Way Home, there was a news report about the political turmoil in New Asgard.
Yeah, what political turmoil was that?
Look, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I forgot you're here.
Love and Thunder doesn't explore any of the politics in New Asgard. In fact, none of the Thor movies has ever gone into Asgardian politics. So let's say that ever since Valkyrie took the throne, Amora was poisoning some Asgardians against her, those Asgardians who didn't adjust to life on Earth, Asgardians who were unhappy with Valkyrie's reign, or they believed that Valkyrie made Asgard weak, turning the once proud and strong society into a Viking Disneyland. New Asgard is cashing in on their history and traditions, turning it into a human product. They even have ice cream that capitalizes on the snap.
Maybe I'm wrong on this one, but for me, the beast doesn't include selling out.
But I totally get the irony of this because it shows how desperate the Asgardians are. They had to sell out. Their home is gone. Most of their people are dead. They came to Earth with nothing. They are refugees. They have no rights, no human currency.
And these Asgardian coins, they're not worth anything.
In Asgard, these coins are worth a gazillion human dollars, okay?
Valkyrie is clearly not happy about this arrangement, but she's doing what she has to make sure Asgard survives. Valkyrie knew that they needed to appear as non-threatening as possible, just a few peaceful immigrant alien gods. The Asgardians are integrating into human society, and the extreme Asgardians will feel like they're losing their identity. The Asgardian prestige is becoming a joke, something the younger generation abandons so they can be like all the cool human kids. The Asgardian separatists see themselves as superior. They are from an eternal kingdom. They are gods. Why should they embrace Valkyrie's changes? Why should they play nice with humans? And Amora will be the one that incites these separatists, plants the seeds as they should rule on Earth, and that it's only a matter of time till the humans will attack them. Amora will even convince the separatists that Thor abandoned them, leaving them with a weak ruler who couldn't protect them from Gore.
But I'm noting a little hole in your plot, though.
Hela killed most of the Asgardian warriors, and then Thanos killed even more warriors when he attacked the Statesman. Love and Thunder even mentioned that half the soldiers are dead. So, how can there be a war when most Asgardian soldiers are dead? Well, the MCU could always take a page from Game of Thrones and do clones. What clones, do you ask? Did you forget about how most Dothraki died in Winterfell, but somehow their numbers tripled in King's Landing? Dothraki clones. Duh.
The army. Yes, a clone army.
This problem can be solved easily with a simple retcon. When Loki took over the throne and pretended to be Odin, he left the other realms in chaos. Then Thor returned and exposed Loki. Right before Thor and Loki went to Earth to find his father, Thor sent soldiers to the other realms. That's why Sif wasn't on Asgard when Hela attacked. When Asgard blew up, those Asgardian soldiers were abandoned, scattered across the other realms. Years later, these other warrior Asgardians finally arrive on Earth, only to find that New Asgard is now a theme park. In fact, maybe Amora was one of them, and that's why she turns evil. She and the others survive 5 years of hell, only to return to a nightmare where her people are selling Snap-themed ice cream. Anyway, Amora and Zemo will meet at some point and plan the war. For Amora, this will be her chance to overthrow Valkyrie. Zemo will play along, but in truth, he's motivated only by his sense of justice. A very dark justice, but he is a man of principle. He will see Amora as a means to an end, to bring down aliens who see themselves as gods, and also to lead a team that he can then use against the Avengers. The two of them will arrange the inciting incident that will turn the government on New Asgard. The Thunderbolts will be sent in to deal with the situation, one thing leads to another, and bam, you got a war between the humans and the Asgardians.
Are you ready for a war?
Now, I'm pretty sure that Marvel Studios is aiming for the Thunderbolts to be a team of anti-heroes and not actual villains. Sure, someone like Abomination won't have much issue with attacking Asgardians, but Yelena has a conscience, and I'm sure that her experience in Hawkeye will make her think twice about what people like Val are whispering in her ear.
In all honesty, if I wanted to kill you,
You would have already.
Right as you open the door.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have even had time to shut it.
No.
I'd have been dead.
No.
Okay.
But as Civil War taught us, sometimes even the best of heroes choose sides and go to war with each other. And as we saw with Walker, all it takes is one bad day to make a guy smash another guy's face with a shield. And I'm sure that Zemo and Amora will manipulate everyone into thinking that the other side is filled with enemies that must be taken down. But no like mind control or anything like that. I want this story to be a complicated political war drama. And this brings us to the question of should Thor and the other Avengers be part of this story? Well, that depends. Siege was a story that involved the Avengers. In fact, the climax was Thor versus Sentry, and that fight was freaking awesome. I'm not even going to bother to explain who Sentry is, that guy deserves a whole separate video. Anyways, sure this story could include Thor and the other Avengers, but I also like the idea of this being a Thunderbolts story. A smaller scale war, nothing too apocalyptic. A story that explores the intricate relationship between government forces and superheroes, how the constant escalation in the MCU world is leading to dangerous political and ideological conflicts.
Politics, huh?
But what do you think about these ideas? Let us know in the comments below, or you can @ me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe and smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.